Joo Seo-yeon, a determined and implacable gym teacher, lives with her 3 brothers, whose undeniable beauty has always attracted the attention of others. Her brothers are Joo Won-jae, the eldest, serious and focused, Joo Won-suk, the rebellious one, and Joo Seo-yeon, the youngest and most charismatic of them all. Since childhood, she was surrounded by the admiration people had for her brothers, and this created in her a strong aversion to flower boys, handsome men who are used to attention only because of their looks. Her life revolves around working in a school where she teaches children not only physical education, but also honesty, hard work, and inner strength. Her appearance is always strict and practical: tracksuits, sneakers, and a minimum of makeup. On the other side of town lives Lee Kang-woo, a wealthy heir to a large corporation. Unlike Seo-yeon, he is absolutely confident in his appearance and considers it his main asset. However, his confidence is based on a deep inner insecurity stemming from his childhood when he was teased for being overweight. Traumatized memories led him to become a fanatic about his appearance: perfect proportions, impeccable style, strict diet, and constant workouts. Despite this, the facade of a perfect life hides emotional wounds that he has learned to hide. Seo-yeon and Kang-woo's meeting becomes a real explosion. They clash at a school event where Kang-woo is present as the guest of honor. Seo-yeon immediately takes a strong dislike to him, seeing him as just another narcissistic pretty boy who values his looks more than his inner qualities. Kang-woo, on the other hand, is shocked by her reaction, since he's used to attention and admiration from women. His ego is instantly hurt, and he decides to prove Seo-yeon wrong by trying to get her attention in every way possible. Kang-woo, convinced of his irresistibility, tries to win Seo-yeon's favor using his usual strategy: luxury cars, expensive gifts, and demonstrations of his status. However, his attempts fail when Seo-yeon remains completely indifferent to his attempts. Her uncompromising nature and clear unwillingness to recognize his status throw Kang-woo off balance. He begins to feel more than annoyance. He's attracted to her steadfastness and unwillingness to follow conventional social norms. It's the first time his looks and wealth have had no effect on someone, and he begins to feel real interest in Seo-yeon. Seo-yeon, for her part, sees in Kang-woo everything she despises in men: selfishness, superficiality, and an excessive preoccupation with herself. But with each new encounter, something changes between them. She begins to notice glimpses of his vulnerability, moments when his mask of self-confidence cracks. These moments make her wonder, could his exterior hide a man with real feelings and weaknesses? Meanwhile, Seo-yeon is in complete chaos on the home front. Her brothers, each with their own tumultuous lives, are keeping her on her toes. Joo Won-jae is constantly immersed in work, which makes him abrupt and stern. Joo Won-suk, on the other hand, leads a bohemian lifestyle, regularly bringing new friends to the house, which infuriates Seo-yeon, and the younger Joo Seo-yeon, despite his frivolity, is the most caring of them all, and often tries to support his sister. The brothers constantly tease Seo-yeon, teasing her about her lack of a personal life and causing her irritation. Meanwhile, Kang-woo, despite his initial bad experience, doesn't back down. His pride and desire to prove to Seo-yeon that he's not as shallow as she thinks he is push him to do even more. Something new awakens in him, a desire to understand why this particular woman doesn't respond to his charms the way everyone else does. He becomes curious not only about her looks, but also about what lies behind her strong character and harsh judgments. Over time, a kind of game develops between Seo-yeon and Kang-woo. He tries to reveal her secrets, she tries to keep her distance, not letting him get too deep into her life. But this struggle between them begins to change them. Seo-yeon, despite all his resistance, begins to see Kang-woo as more than just a pretty shell. And Kang-woo, for his part, gradually realizes that his obsession with looks doesn't bring him true happiness. The whole story is made even more intense by the colorful secondary characters. Kim Mi-kung, Seo-yeon's best friend, constantly pushes her to give Kang-woo a chance. She believes that behind his outward gloss is a good person. Kang-woo, in turn, faces pressure from his family, especially from his sister Lee Kang-hee, who believes that Seo-yeon is unworthy of their family. However, this only fuels an even greater desire in him to prove to everyone that he is capable of making his own decisions about his life. After his first bad impression, Kang-woo isn't going to give up so easily. He realizes that looks alone are not enough to impress Seo-yeon. Trying to find a new approach, he decides to take a break and think of ways to show her that there's more behind his perfect looks. In the meantime, he observes her from the sidelines, noticing how seriously she takes her work and how much she cares for her students. He begins to wonder why such a strong and determined woman so desperately avoids men who could be a worthy match for her. Seo-yeon, for her part, makes no attempt to shut Kang-woo out. However, his presence begins to affect her more than she expected. Even though he seems superficial and narcissistic, his behavior begins to show a hint of sincerity. Kang-woo finds himself several times in situations where his help is unexpectedly useful. He, who was initially overly selfish, gradually begins to realize that paying attention to others, not just himself, can be pleasurable. One such moment comes when one of Seo-yeon's students encounters a problem at school. A young boy facing bullying is hesitant to turn to anyone for help. Seo-yeon notices that something is wrong, and in trying to help discovers that Kang-woo has witnessed the situation as well. Instead of making it an object of ridicule, or somehow emphasizing its importance, Kang-woo unexpectedly offers his help, showing a sensitivity that Seo-yeon didn't expect to see in him. This episode makes her look at his character in a different way. While their relationship begins to slowly but surely change, Seo-yeon's relationship with her brothers also plays an important role in her life. Joo Won-jae, the older brother, spends a lot of time at work and often clashes with the younger ones because of their frivolity. This is especially true for Joo Won-suk, who often brings noisy companies to the house, which annoys Seo-yeon. Despite this, there is a warm family bond between them that helps her cope with difficulties at work and in her personal life. Kang-woo, on the other hand, faces pressure from his family, especially from his sister Lee Kang-hee. She is clearly unhappy with his growing affection for Seo-yeon and does her best to talk him out of the relationship. Kang-hee feels that Seo-yeon isn't right for their family, as she's too rude and doesn't fit the notion of a decent bride for their powerful family. This adds extra stress to Kang-woo, as he has to maneuver between his own feelings and his family's expectations. Seo-yeon is also feeling the pressure. Despite her resilience and determination, she's beginning to realize that it's not so easy for her to ignore Kang-woo. His persistence and gradual changes in behavior bring out mixed feelings in her. She doesn't want to admit that this man she initially thought was superficial may actually be deeper and more sincere than she realized. At the same time, secondary plot lines are developing. Kim Mi-kang, Seo-yeon's best friend, keeps pushing her to give Kang-woo a chance. Mi-kyung sees him as more than just a handsome man, and believes that Seo-yeon could be happy if she allows herself to go beyond her prejudices. At this time, his longtime rival, Lee Min-hyuk, who also shows interest in Seo-yeon, begins to appear in Kang-woo's life. This creates even more tension between the characters, as now Kang-woo not only has to fight his feelings, but also his rival for Seo-yeon's attention. Meanwhile, Seo-yeon is faced with internal doubts. Her decision to always push away handsome men is beginning to seem less obvious to her than before. A question matures within her. Should she continue to follow her strict beliefs or try to take a deeper look at people? These reflections cause her internal conflict, which she will have to deal with in the future. Kang-woo begins to realize that the usual methods of charm don't work on Seo-yeon. His ego, always relying on looks and status, begins to realize that he needs to change his approach. He meeting Seo-yeon not only shakes his confidence, but also makes him realize that beautiful words and gestures don't always hide true feelings. His attempts to attract attention through wealth and looks now seem inappropriate. Kang-woo decides to stop playing his games and approach Seo-yeon more sincerely. However, he doesn't know where to start. His life has always been surrounded by superficial relationships, and the concept of honest openness is foreign to him. Meanwhile, Seo-yeon is immersed in work. A problem arises at school. One of her students, a young boy named Hodol, is facing bullying from his peers. Seo-yeon, who cares about her students, tries to help him, but the boy remains stubbornly silent about his problems. However, Seo-yeon notices that Kang-woo is also paying attention to what's going on. Contrary to her expectations, he doesn't make sarcastic remarks or act arrogant, but shows sympathy. This moment makes her see him differently. Behind his outward brilliance and narcissism lies a man who can feel empathy. Seo-yeon spends time with Kim Mi-kang, her best friend, who keeps pushing her towards Kang-woo. Mi-kyung thinks that Seo-yeon is too harsh and stubborn, and that she should stop judging people based on looks alone. However, Seo-yeon is still not ready to admit that Kang-woo can be a good person. Memories of her brothers and men who have tried to impress her with looks alone in the past are still vividly imprinted in her mind. While Seo-yeon decides how to deal with her new feelings, Kang-woo continues to analyze his own. His inner world undergoes a real jolt when he remembers his youth, when he was obese and subjected to ridicule. These memories begin to surface, triggering feelings in him that he has long suppressed. He realizes that his current fixation on his appearance is a defense against the pain he once experienced, and Seo-yeon defying his charms reminds him of what it feels like to be vulnerable. Meanwhile, Seo-yeon's relationship with her brothers becomes increasingly strained. Joo Won-suk, the middle brother, makes new acquaintances and brings a group of friends into the house, which annoys Seo-yeon. Her work is demanding, and coming home to chaos doesn't bring her peace. At the same time, Joo Won-jae continues to be strict and serious, showing himself as an older brother who often condemns the frivolous behavior of the younger ones. Seo-yeon has new responsibilities at work, and she spends more and more time with the students, trying to make sense of their problems. Her attitude toward Kang-woo remains complicated, but she can't help but notice that his behavior is changing, that he's becoming less narcissistic and more interested in her as a person, not just another object of his attention. Seo-yeon can't shake the feeling that there's something more behind his facade. Lee Min-hyuk, who appears on the horizon as Kang-woo's rival, heightens the tension. His interest in Seo-yeon is obvious, and this annoys Kang-woo. Min-hyuk appears to be a more balanced and simple person, which bribes Seo-yeon. Now Kang-woo finds himself in a difficult situation. Not only does he have to deal with his own internal problems, but he also has to compete for Seo-yeon's attention with someone who seems more suitable for Tobin. This forces him to think seriously about who he wants to be and what he's willing to do for real feelings. Soon Kang-woo decides to take action. He realizes that it's time to show Seo-yeon his vulnerability. However, this is incredibly difficult for him, as he has built his entire life around creating the perfect image. He's not used to revealing his weaknesses, especially in front of people he has feelings for. But nevertheless, he decides to take the first step and try to have an honest conversation with Seo-yeon. His confession comes as a surprise to himself. He tells her that his self-confidence is nothing but a mask to hide his fear of being rejected. After Kang-woo reveals his inner fears to Seo-yeon, their dynamic begins to gradually change. Seo-yeon can no longer ignore the feelings he arouses in her. His confession, unexpected and touching, touches the strings of her soul. She realizes that behind his outward confidence are feelings that she hadn't noticed before. Despite this, however, Seo-yeon isn't ready to change her opinion of him so easily. She still keeps her distance, afraid to open up to a man she thought was superficial and arrogant. Kang-woo, feeling that he has taken an important step in their relationship, continues to be on his best behavior. He tries to support Seo-yeon in her daily routine, takes an interest in her work, and even begins to get along with her students. At school, his behavior changes and he becomes more attentive and calm, which is noticed not only by Seo-yeon but also by her colleagues. However, Kang-woo still finds it difficult to cope with himself and his fixation on his appearance. His old habits break through from time to time, but Seo-yeon sees that he's trying to change. At the same time, Seo-yeon gets deeper and deeper into his students' problems. Hodal, a student who has been bullied, finally decides to open up to Seo-yeon and talk about his experiences. He is grateful to her for noticing his difficulties and not staying away. This situation reinforces her reputation as a sensitive and caring teacher. Kang-woo, watching Seo-yeon help her students, feels even more respect for her. Amidst these changes, a new round of tension arises over Lee Min-hyuk. His presence is increasingly jealous of Kang-woo, who realizes that Min-hyuk is much more poised and easygoing than Seo-yeon. Min-hyuk actively shows interest in her, which starts to bother Kang-woo. He sees him as a real competitor who can take away his chance to build a relationship with Seo-yeon. Seo-yeon, in turn, begins to realize that her feelings for Kang-woo are becoming more complicated. Despite her sympathy for Min-hyuk, she is increasingly attracted to the fact that Kang-woo is showing a different side of herself. She notices his efforts and how he's trying to change his attitude not only toward her, but also toward others. However, her past prejudices still prevent her from trusting him completely. Meanwhile, the usual chaos continues at Seo-yeon's house. Joo Seo continues to lead a loose lifestyle, which annoys Seo-yeon, especially when he throws parties and invites friends over unannounced. Joo Jae remains strict and preoccupied with his career development, which often leads to conflicts with his brothers. However, their family bond remains strong, and despite their differences, Seo-yeon feels their support in difficult moments. Kang-woo increasingly thinks that in order to win Seo-yeon over, he needs to learn to show his true self instead of hiding behind a facade, and he decides to focus on getting to know her better, her life, and what's important to her. This decision allows him to feel more confident, though not without an internal struggle. Kang-woo decides not to stop halfway and continues to try to get closer to Seo-yeon. After all the inner realizations and revelations, he concludes that the key to her heart is to show that he is capable of more than just outward glitz and status. Now he sets out to prove to her that he can be a reliable and sincere man. Kang-woo gives up his ostentatious wealth and begins to behave more modestly, which surprises him as well. This is a new experience for him, which is not easy, but he realizes that this is what the situation requires. Seon, observing his changes, can't help but recognize that Kang-woo is really trying. Even though she still treats him with caution, his sincere efforts are gradually changing her perception of him. However, she's still wavering between her principles and the new feelings that are beginning to develop. She doesn't want to jump to premature conclusions for fear of being wrong about the man again. Meanwhile, Lee Min-hyuk continues to show interest in Seo-yeon, and their relationship becomes increasingly warm. Min-hyuk seems like the perfect man for her, calm, confident, and supportive of her every endeavor. However, Seo-yeon notices that despite his strengths, her heart doesn't respond to him the way it does to Kang-woo. This causes her to struggle internally. Logic tells her that Min-hyuk is a better match for her, but her emotional side is drawn to Kang-woo. Plus, it's becoming increasingly apparent in Seo-yeon's life that Kang-woo isn't going to give up. His perseverance and determination touches her, even if she's not ready to admit it. She notices that his involvement in her life is becoming more and more natural. He tries to help her not only with work-related issues, but also with family matters. This is especially evident when Kang-woo finds out about Seo-yeon's family problems and tries to support her in her time of need. During this time, the usual drama continues in Seo-yeon's family. Joo Seo, the middle brother, faces difficulties in his personal life. His free-spirited lifestyle is beginning to take its toll, relationships with friends are deteriorating, and Seo-yeon begins to notice that his habit of avoiding serious commitments is causing him more pain than joy. She tries to help her brother, but their conversations often end in arguments, as Won-suk is not ready to admit his problems. Joo Won-jae, on the other hand, is becoming increasingly distant from her family because of her work, which also causes tension between the siblings. At school, Seo-yeon continues to devote a lot of time to her students. She becomes more and more immersed in their problems, and Kang-woo continues to watch her work, admiring her dedication. This convinces him more and more that Seo-yeon is an extraordinary woman who values the true things in life, rather than the superficial values he's used to. However, new difficulties appear on the horizon. Lee Kang-hee, Kang-woo's sister, begins to interfere more and more actively in his life. She's concerned that her brother is too involved with a woman who doesn't fit their status. Kang-hee is adamantly opposed to Seo-yeon and does everything she can to talk Kang-woo out of the relationship. This creates a new source of tension for Kang-woo, who is forced to balance his feelings with family pressure. Seo-yeon is still experiencing internal conflict between his previous beliefs and his new feelings of Kang-woo. He continues to show genuine concern, which touches her. However, Seo-yeon tries to remain cautious and takes her time to make decisions. Her past experiences with handsome men, as well as her unwillingness to repeat old mistakes, hold her back from opening up completely. However, it's getting harder every day for her to ignore the changes in Kang-woo. He's trying to be more natural, paying less attention to his appearance, and showing his sincere side more and more, which makes Seo-yeon wonder how much he's changed. Meanwhile, Kang-woo faces a new obstacle. His sister Lee Kang-hee is getting more and more involved in his personal life. She is concerned that Seo-yeon is not the right man for their family, and she tries to convince him to end the relationship. For Kang-woo, this becomes another source of stress. He begins to feel torn between wanting to prove to everyone that his choice is deliberate and right, and the pressure from his family. Gradually, he realizes that he will have to make a difficult choice between his own feelings and the expectations of those around him. Seo-yeon also feels the pressure building up. Her friends and co-workers talk more and more about her possible feelings for Kang-woo, which makes her feel uncomfortable. She begins to realize that she may have lived within her preconceptions for too long, and that Kang-woo has indeed changed. But despite all this, the fear of making a mistake remains strong, and Seo-yeon continues to keep her distance. Added to this is the strain on family relationships. Joo Won-suk begins to realize that his disorderly life has caused him to become estranged from his loved ones. His attempts to solve his personal problems lead to arguments with Seo-yeon, who feels that he is not taking responsibility for his life. Joo Won-jae, on the other hand, immerses himself in his work, and this increasingly distances him from his family. All these family complications put pressure on Seo-yeon, forcing her to think about her role in the family and her responsibility for her brothers. Meanwhile, Kang-woo is trying to decide how to proceed. He realizes that he has to be more decisive and show Seo-yeon that his intentions are serious. He begins to think more about how to build a relationship with her based on trust rather than superficial things. Despite the pressure from his family, he continues to fight for the opportunity to be with Seo-yeon. However, Seo-yeon is still not ready to fully trust him. She sees him trying, but her fears about things not going the way she expects continue to hold her back. That's when Lee Min-hyuk comes into her life and becomes a more attractive alternative every time she sees him. Min-hyuk seems like a more reliable and predictable option to Seo-yeon, which reinforces her doubts. Seo-yeon continues her internal struggle, torn between her feelings for Kang-woo and her fear of trusting a handsome man again. Her past experiences with men like him still leave an imprint on her perception. However, after a frank conversation with Kang-woo, she realizes that he has indeed changed. His confession that his selfish behavior used to be just a mask to cover his insecurities makes her see him in a new way. Seo-yeon begins to see that behind this outer beauty is a man who also faces his own fears and complexes. Meanwhile, Min-hyuk doesn't give up trying to win Seo-yeon's attention either. He continues to be there for Seo-yeon, but unlike Kang-woo, Min-hyuk acts more gently and unobtrusively, offering Seo-yeon comfort and stability. Seo-yeon feels cozy around him, but can't fully commit to the relationship. Her heart is still drawn to Kang-woo, though her mind tells her that Min-hyuk might be a better choice for her quiet and measured life. At the same time, Seo-yeon's life is changing at work. She devotes more and more time to her students, which distracts her from her personal worries. Her students see her not only as a strict teacher but also as someone who is willing to listen and help. Hodal, the very student who faced bullying, continues to trust Seo-yeon and begins to open up to her. She sees it as her mission to help him cope and support him through this difficult time. Kang-woo, watching Seo-yeon help others, admires her inner strength and kindness even more. At this time, tensions are rising in Kang-woo's family. His sister Lee Kang-hee becomes more and more adamant. She believes that a relationship with Seo-yeon could damage the family's reputation and cause unnecessary problems. She does everything she can to convince Kang-woo to cut the ties. The pressure from the family intensifies, and Kang-woo begins to question whether he can withstand these external circumstances. He realizes that his love for Seo-yeon will have to go through many trials, and this makes him feel vulnerable. Seo-yeon, feeling increasingly tense and realizing that Kang-woo is facing difficulties because of his family, begins to wonder if she should continue the relationship. She doesn't want to be the cause of conflict in his life, especially if it might ruin his relationship with his loved ones. These thoughts become a heavy burden for her, and she begins to distance herself from Kang-woo again, leading to more misunderstandings between them. After their tense conversation, Seo-yeon decides to give herself some time to sort out her feelings for Kang-woo. She's still unsure if she should continue to communicate with him despite his best efforts. Her fears that Kang-woo might go back to being the cocky person she met in the beginning continue to plague her. Seo-yeon often revisits memories of how Kang-woo behaved before and can't quite shake off her distrust. However, his constant attention, sincerity, and changes make her question her earlier judgments. Kang-woo, on the other hand, sensing that Seo-yeon is beginning to drift away, has no intention of giving up. He realizes that one conversation isn't enough and decides to show that his intentions are truly serious. He starts spending more time around Seo-yeon, not even meddling in her personal affairs, just supporting her mentally and physically when necessary. Seo-yeon notices this change, though she tries not to show that it's affecting her. Meanwhile, Min Ha-hyuk doesn't give up trying to win Seo-yeon's attention either. He continues to be there for her, but unlike Kang-woo, Min Ha-hyuk acts more gently and unobtrusively, offering Seo-yeon comfort and stability. Seo-yeon feels cozy around him but can't fully commit to the relationship. Her heart is still drawn to Kang-woo, though her mind tells her that Min Ha-hyuk might be a better choice for her quiet and measured life. At the same time, Seo-yeon's life is changing at work. She devotes more and more time to her students, which distracts her from her personal worries. Her students see her not only as a strict teacher but also as someone who is willing to listen and help. Hodol, the very student who faced bullying, continues to trust Seo-yeon and begins to open up to her. She sees it as her mission to help him cope and support him through this difficult time. Kang-woo, watching Seo-yeon help others, admires her inner strength and kindness even more. At this time, tensions are rising in Kang-woo's family. His sister, Lee Kang-hee, becomes more and more adamant. She believes that a relationship with Seo-yeon could damage the family's reputation and cause unnecessary problems. She does everything she can to convince Kang-woo to cut the ties. The pressure from the family intensifies, and Kang-woo begins to question whether he can withstand these external circumstances. He realizes that his love for Seo-yeon will have to go through many trials, and this makes him feel vulnerable. Seo-yeon, feeling increasingly tense and realizing that Kang-woo is facing difficulties because of his family, begins to wonder if she should continue the relationship. She doesn't want to be the cause of conflict in his life, especially if it might ruin his relationship with his loved ones. These thoughts weigh on her, and she begins to drift away from Kang-woo again, leading to more misunderstandings between them. After Min Ha-hyuk's confession, Seo-yeon finds herself in a difficult situation. His words have affected her, because Min Ha-hyuk does represent a reliable and calm person who can offer her a stable relationship devoid of drama. But Seo-yeon realizes that despite this, her feelings for Kang-woo are stronger, even though her relationship with him seems much more complicated and confusing. She begins to think more and more about whether it's best for her to choose with her heart or her mind. Each of these roads has its own risks and its own consequences. Meanwhile, Kang-woo senses that Seo-yeon is becoming more and more distant from him. He realizes that Min Ha-hyuk is a serious competitor and that Seo-yeon might actually choose him. This realization makes Kang-woo feel jealous, but also determined to keep fighting for her heart. He becomes more and more convinced that his feelings for Seo-yeon are real, and that he's willing to go to great lengths to get her to give them a chance. Kang-woo decides to make another attempt to get closer to Seo-yeon. He begins to act more gently and cautiously, showing that he's willing to respect her personal space and time to make decisions. This catches Seo-yeon's attention because she sees that Kang-woo has really changed and become more mature in his actions. She begins to trust him more, though her fear of making a mistake still keeps her from making a serious move. While Kang-woo and Seo-yeon continue their complicated interactions, new problems are brewing in Seo-yeon's family. Joo Won-suk, her middle brother, gets into trouble again by getting involved with unscrupulous people. This adds even more stress to Seo-yeon's life. She feels that her role in the family is becoming more and more burdensome, and she finds it increasingly difficult to maintain a balance between family responsibilities, work, and her personal worries. Kang-woo, learning about the problems in Seo-yeon's family, decides to help her. He realizes that this is a great chance to show her that she can rely on him not only as a man, but also as a friend who will support her in her time of need. Kang-woo finds a way to solve her brother's problems, which further strengthens his position in Seo-yeon's eyes. This becomes an important moment in their relationship, as Seo-yeon sees that Kang-woo is willing to act for her good and not just to impress her. At this time, Lee Kang-woo's sister, does not give up her attempts to separate him from Seo-yeon. She uses every means possible to convince her brother that this relationship is detrimental to his image and future. However, Kang-woo listens to her opinion less and less. His confidence in his feelings for Seo-yeon grows, and he begins to openly confront his family, showing that his choice is realized and that he is willing to fight for Seo-yeon despite social and familial obstacles. Seo-yeon begins to realize that her feelings for Kang-woo are much deeper than she ever imagined. His actions and support during difficult moments in her life make her reconsider her previous views and fears. She no longer sees him as the narcissistic, handsome man she thought he was, but realizes that he is a man who is willing to change for her. However, her inner fears have not completely left her, and she continues to question whether Kang-woo will be able to maintain this level of sincerity in the long run. Kang-woo, feeling that his efforts are paying off, doesn't stop there. He decides to organize a special day for Seo-yeon to show her how much he appreciates her and how serious he is about their possible relationship. He invites her to spend the day together at an amusement park where they can relax and just enjoy time with each other. Seo-yeon is hesitant at first, but seeing how sincere Kang-woo is about making her happy, she agrees. The day at the park begins awkwardly, as Seo-yeon is still afraid to open up about her feelings and be vulnerable. However, Kang-woo gradually eases her tension with his care and attention. They start laughing, talking, and reminiscing about the moments that brought them closer together. Seo-yeon notices that it's easy for her to be herself with him, and this discovery becomes an important step for her to realize that she can trust him. Meanwhile, Min-hyuk notices that Seo-yeon is leaning more and more toward Kang-woo, and he is disappointed. He decides it's time to have a frank conversation with her. Min-hyuk confesses that he was willing to offer her stability and love, but he also sees that her heart belongs to Kang-woo. Seo-yeon thanks him for his honesty and support, but her response confirms what Min-hyuk already suspected: her feelings for Kang-woo are too strong for her to ignore. Min-hyuk decides to back off, realizing that she can't compete with what's between Seo-yeon and Kang-woo. Meanwhile, Lee Kang-woo's sister, continues to pressure her brother. She arranges a family meeting with important business associates and openly states that a relationship like Kang-woo's with Seo-yeon could ruin their image. But this time, Kang-woo isn't about to bend to her will. He decisively declares that his personal life is his choice, and he won't let anyone, including his family, dictate terms to him. This moment becomes a turning point for Kang-woo as he openly confronts his relatives for Seo-yeon's sake for the first time. After Seo-yeon's important confession, their relationship with Kang-woo begins to take a more romantic turn. She no longer hides her feelings and allows herself to relax in his company. Together, they begin to spend more time getting to know each other from a new side, opening their souls and sharing their joys and hardships. Seo-yeon now sees Kang-woo not just as a handsome man, but as a man with deep inner feelings and a willingness to work on himself. However, this happiness does not go unnoticed by those around him. At Seo-yeon's school, rumors begin to spread about her relationship with Kang-woo, which makes her uncomfortable. Her co-workers and students take notice, and while most of them are just curious, Seo-yeon feels a bit pressured by the growing attention to her personal life. She's always been someone who preferred to separate her work from her personal affairs, but now she has to face the fact that her affair is becoming a topic of discussion. Meanwhile, Kang-woo faces new challenges in his relationship with his family. After his strong statement at a family meeting, Lee Kang-hee begins to act more aggressively. She tries to convince their father to intervene and force Kang-woo to end his relationship with Seo-yeon. Kang-woo's father, being a serious and traditional man, agrees to discuss the matter with his son. This creates a new difficulty for Kang-woo as the pressure from his family increases. But Kang-woo, seeing how much it affects Seo-yeon, decides that he must protect his relationship this time. Seo-yeon, learning about Kang-woo's problems with his family, begins to question the rightness of their relationship. She doesn't want to be the cause of the rift between Kang-woo and his family. Her fears and insecurities return, and she contemplates that maybe their relationship really is too complicated to be a happy one. Her inner torment intensifies when she sees Kang-woo struggling with family conflicts over her. In parallel, Seo-yeon's relationship between her brothers develops within the Seo-yeon family. Joo Won-suk finally begins to realize that his promiscuous lifestyle is having negative consequences. He admits his mistakes and begins to look for ways to solve his problems. Seo-yeon is happy to see that her brother is committed to change, and it helps her cope with her own difficulties. Seo-yeon expresses her fears and doubts, saying that she doesn't want to be the cause of problems in his family. She seriously considers ending the relationship to free Kang-woo from this pressure. Kang-woo, seeing her doubts, decides to act decisively. He tells her that their relationship is more important to him than anything else, and that he's willing to go through any hardship for their sake. This emotional moment helps Seo-yeon realize that Kang-woo is really serious and that she can rely on him. After an emotional conversation with Kang-woo, Seo-yeon slowly begins to realize that her concerns and fears about their relationship were based on past disappointments and prejudices. But seeing how serious Kang-woo is, she decides to no longer push him away and avoid the difficulties that inevitably arise in their lives. They agree to continue their relationship, but now with more determination and understanding of each other. Nevertheless, the challenges remain. Rumors of their affair continue to gain momentum both at school and in the community, which begins to affect Seo-yeon's reputation. Her co-workers begin to discuss her personal life more actively, some of them expressing support and others expressing hidden displeasure. For Seo-yeon, this becomes a source of discomfort, as she is used to being focused on her work and her relationship with her students, not on public opinion. At the same time, the family pressure on Kang-woo only intensifies. His father decides to talk to him directly and expresses disappointment that Kang-woo has gotten involved with a woman of whom their family disapproves. His father makes Kang-woo realize that his choice could have a negative impact on their family's image and business. This becomes a serious challenge for Kang-woo, as he has always strived to live up to his family's expectations and follow their instructions. But now he realizes that being happy with Seo-yeon is more important to him than maintaining his family's image. Kang-woo decides to assert himself once again and put a final end to the family dispute. He openly tells his father that he's not going to give up Seo-yeon for the sake of family traditions and expectations. This conversation becomes a pivotal moment in Kang-woo's life, as he openly confronts his father's authority for perhaps the first time in his life. Seo-yeon sees Kang-woo's struggles and tries to support him morally. Her feelings for him grow stronger and stronger, and she realizes that she is now willing to go all the way for this relationship, despite all the external difficulties. Her brothers, noticing the changes in her life, also become more interested in her affair with Kang-woo. In particular, Joo Won-jae, the older brother, decides to meet Kang-woo to see if he's really serious. The meeting between the two men is tense, but Kang-woo proves that he is willing to take responsibility for his relationship with Seo-yeon and protect her from any problems. Against this backdrop, the relationship between Seo-yeon and Kang-woo grows deeper. They begin to discuss their future and life plans more. Seo-yeon opens up to Kang-woo about her deepest fears and worries, talking about how her early years spent around handsome brothers shaped her dislike of handsome men. Kang-woo, in turn, shares her childhood trauma of being bullied for being overweight. After all the trials Kang-woo and Seo-yeon have been through, their relationship reaches a new level of trust. Frank conversations help them sort out their feelings and understand each other better. Both realize that their bond is not only emotional, but also built on a deep mutual understanding, made possible by overcoming their own fears and stereotypes. Meanwhile, Lee Kang-hee, Kang-woo's sister, is not about to give up. She is not satisfied with her brother continuing his relationship with Seo-yeon against the family's wishes. She decides to go to the extreme and start acting through business connections to put pressure on Kang-woo through business. Her plan is to get their family's business associates on her side, thereby making Kang-woo feel threatened not only by their relationship, but also by his place in the company. She believes that this will be a decisive argument for him. Kang-woo, having learned of his sister's actions, decides to confront her openly. He calls a meeting with the partners and other family members to discuss the situation. At the meeting, he firmly declares that he will not give up his principles or his relationship with Seo-yeon, even if it threatens his position in the business. This move displeases some of his entourage, but many begin to respect Kang-woo for his steadfastness and determination. Seo-yeon, upon learning of the situation, initially feels guilty for causing conflict in Kang-woo's life. She doesn't want to be the cause of discord in his family and business, but she sees that he's willing to fight for both of them. This strengthens her confidence that their relationship is more than just a crush. It's a true bond based on support and respect. On the personal front, Seo-yeon is also facing changes in her relationship with her brothers. Joo Won-suk finally decides to get serious about his life. He admits his mistakes and decides to change his lifestyle, much to Seo-yeon's approval. Joo Won-jae, the older brother, becomes more interested in Seo-yeon's personal life, but stops interfering in her relationship with Kang-woo, seeing how serious she is. All of these changes create a more harmonious family atmosphere, making Seo-yeon feel more confident in her choices. The past events have shown how strong the relationship between Seo-yeon and Kang-woo has become. Despite the many obstacles, they managed to maintain and strengthen their feelings by becoming closer to each other. Nevertheless, the trials are not over for the couple. New challenges continue to appear in their lives, this time concerning their future and their relationship with others. Kang-woo begins to contemplate the big step of proposing marriage to Seo-yeon. He's already realized that her love is more important to him than anything else in the world, and he's ready to dedicate his life to making her happy. However, the pressure from his family still remains significant. Kang-woo's father, though more reserved than his sister Lee Kang-hee, is still not ready to approve of his son's choice. He insists that Seo-yeon is not a good match for them in terms of status, and this could affect their business partners and family reputation. Meanwhile, Seo-yeon continues her work at school and tries not to think about the difficulties ahead. She knows that Kang-woo is facing tremendous pressure, but believes in his ability to endure it for the sake of their relationship. She also supports him as best she can, but begins to wonder how long they'll be able to cope with so many outside factors constantly interfering with their personal lives. Amidst these musings, Kang-woo decides to take things a step further. he organizes a romantic dinner where he plans to propose to Seo-yeon. He spends the entire day preparing, choosing the perfect place and thinking about how everything should go. His love and care is evident in every detail, and he hopes that this moment will be a new stage in their relationship. However, during dinner, as Kang-woo prepares to propose, Seo-yeon suddenly starts talking about her doubts. She confesses that she's afraid that her presence in his life will continue to ruin his relationship with his family. She doesn't want to be the cause of further conflict and pressure on Kang-woo. These words shock him, as he didn't expect to hear such concerns at such an important moment. Seo-yeon goes on to say that despite his best efforts in love, she's not sure she can handle so many outside issues that are constantly affecting their relationship. Kang-woo, upon hearing this, feels disappointed at first, but then realizes that Seo-yeon is really worried about him and their future. He decides not to propose at this point, realizing that they need more time to work out these doubts. Instead, he suggests that Seo-yeon discuss their future in more detail to find solutions to help them deal with their concerns. Meanwhile, more changes are taking place in Seo-yeon's family. Joo Won-suk, her brother, finally begins to think seriously about his life and career. He realizes that he can no longer lead a chaotic life and must take responsibility for his actions. He decides to get a job and no longer be a source of trouble for his sister. This positive change helps Seo-yeon get a little distraction from her own worries. Joo Won-jae, Seo-yeon's older brother, also realizes that his excessive immersion in work has alienated him from his family. He begins to spend more time with his family, and this brings a positive change in the family dynamics. The relationship between the siblings becomes more harmonious, and Seo-yeon begins to feel that her family responsibilities are becoming easier. However, amidst these changes, a new problem arises. Lee Kang-hee continues her attempts to destroy the relationship between Kang-woo and Seo-yeon. She decides to use another leverage. She hires a private investigator to gather compromising data about Seo-yeon and her family. Kang-hee plans to use this data to permanently destroy her brother's relationship with Seo-yeon, thinking that by doing so she will protect the family. This intrigue complicates Kang-woo and Seo-yeon's lives. Kang-woo finds out about his sister's plans and becomes furious. He realizes that he must do something immediately to protect Seo-yeon from such attacks. He decides to talk to Seo-yeon openly and tell her everything so that she'll be prepared for possible problems. Seo-yeon is shocked when she finds out about Kang-hee's actions. She didn't expect that her relationship with Kang-woo could be subject to such manipulation and intrigue. This event makes her wonder once again if she can withstand the further pressure and conflicts that will inevitably arise. After a frank conversation with Kang-woo, Seo-yeon feels more confident, although her inner fears and doubts have not yet completely disappeared. They decide that their relationship should be based on honesty and trust, and that they will face all difficulties together. This decision strengthens their bond, and Seo-yeon slowly begins to accept the idea that it might be worth taking a risk and allowing herself to be happy with Kang-woo despite all the obstacles. Meanwhile, Lee Kang-hee's scheming is beginning to bear fruit. The private investigator she hired finds information that Kang-hee plans to use against Seo-yeon. She prepares to cause a public scandal, hoping to destroy their relationship for good. However, Kang-woo learns of her plans and decides to take drastic measures. He gathers his family and business associates for a meeting to tell them his intentions in person and explain why he is choosing Seo-yeon despite all the obstacles. This bold decision elicits a variety of reactions. Some of Kang-woo's partners support his choice and respect his steadfastness. Others, on the other hand, fear for their position in the business, believing that such a public move could hurt their interests. But most importantly, Kang-woo shows his family that he is willing to protect his feelings and not give in to pressure, no matter how strong. Seo-yeon, upon learning of this move, has mixed feelings. On the one hand, she's impressed by Kang-woo's determination and the fact that he's willing to fight so openly for their relationship. On the other hand, she's still worried about the impact this whole situation might have on his life and business. She doesn't want her presence in his life to be the cause of destroying his career or family ties. But Kang-woo makes it clear that it's more important for him to be happy with Seo-yeon than to maintain the image imposed by his family and business partners. This moment is a turning point for Seo-yeon. She sees that Kang-woo is really willing to sacrifice a lot for her, and it gives her confidence in their relationship. Meanwhile, Seo-yeon's family is also undergoing changes. Her brothers, seeing how she's changed and become happier, finally accept her choice and decide to support her in everything. Even Joo Won-jae, who was initially against her relationship with Kang-woo, begins to see that he really cares for her and makes her happy. After deciding to continue their relationship, Seo-yeon and Kang-woo begin to make plans for the future in earnest. They discuss not only personal issues but also the possible problems that may arise due to the constant pressure from Kang-woo's family and business associates. Despite this, both are determined and ready to fight for their love. Well, meanwhile, Lee Kang-hee is not about to give up. After an unsuccessful attempt to destroy their relationship with compromising material, she decides to use her last resort, manipulating Kang-woo's business. Using her connections and the support of her partners, she tries to bring financial instability to the company's projects to make him decide to end his relationship with Seo-yeon in order to save the business. However, Kang-woo is no longer the same person he used to be. His changes brought about by his love for Seo-yeon make him stronger and more confident. He's willing to take on any challenges to prove that he can cope without the support of those who don't accept his choices. Seo-yeon, meanwhile, continues to live her normal life at school, but rumors of her relationship with the rich heir continue to worry her colleagues. Some of them express support, while others remain skeptical. Her students, however, admire her resilience, and some of them are even beginning to take an interest in her personal life, asking questions that she tries to answer with restraint and professionalism. Seo-yeon's personal life is also undergoing changes. Her brothers, seeing how much she is attached to Kang-woo, finally accept him as part of her life. Joo Seo-yeon, who used to be a source of trouble for Seo-yeon, decides to take up his career and change his life so as not to be a burden to his sister. Joo Won-jae also gradually softens and becomes more supportive of Seo-yeon, seeing how happy she is around Kang-woo. One night, Kang-woo organizes a family meeting where he's going to formally introduce Seo-yeon to his parents. He realizes that it might not be easy, but decides it's time for everyone to accept his choice. Seo-yeon, a little nervous, agrees to it, realizing that it's an important step for their future. The meeting begins with a tense atmosphere, especially from Kang-woo's father and sister, who still disapprove of the relationship. However, after seeing his son's determination, Kang-woo's father softens and agrees to listen to them. Seo-yeon acts confident, though it's not easy for her to remain calm under such scrutiny. She talks about how she's changed through her love for Kang-woo and how she sees their future together. Her sincerity and openness begins to change the attitude of Kang-woo's father, who, though not immediately, begins to recognize that this relationship is really important to his son. Lee Kang-hee, seeing that her attempts to manipulate the situation are failing, begins to realize that she has lost control of the situation. She backs off, deciding not to interfere in her brother's personal life anymore, although she doesn't accept Seo-yeon completely. Kang-woo, feeling that a big step has been taken, becomes more confident in their future. Kang-woo and Seo-yeon leave the family dinner, feeling more confident that they can overcome any obstacles together. They walk hand in hand, knowing that new challenges lie ahead, but now they're confident that they can handle them together. Seo-yeon finally lets go of all her fears and fully accepts Kang-woo into her life, realizing that he's the man she wants to move on with.